Recording this video after close of trade Friday, 14th of October 2011. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Got a few charts to go through, so I'll move through this pretty quickly. First of all, Emini chart on Friday. 1.7 million contracts traded, a little below average volume, but we're back up at the cyclical resistance level here at 1220s. This kind of printed on the equities market a couple of days ago. You can just see it there, better sine wave. And now finally, I was talking about this last video, we had a whole bunch of risk on, risk off charts starting to come due for a cyclical turning point, and the equity market tends to lead a little bit, so we've had this print early here and it's kind of coming due on all these other charts. I'll kind of go through those. So really important point, are we going to roll over and everything kind of go back into a downtrend, or are we going to sit around this resistance level, kind of build some energy and go into an uptrend? So in terms of trend line, we have burst above the trend line here with a red bar. Wednesday's activity, we kind of closed back below into congestion here with a white bar. Friday we rested within congestion, then Thursday we rested within congestion, then Friday's activity kind of took us to new highs. So a lot of people talking about kind of positive surprises and kind of building the case for an uptrend in equities. So we'll kind of wait and see. Certainly better trend has finally turned over here on with Friday's data. So trend oscillator turns down, take profits on this whole cluster of long trades here, which is very nice for the equity curve. So here we go. It's been in a drawdown for quite a few months actually, and we're finally kind of building a little bit of a base here, and the equity's kind of building back up, hopefully making new equity highs in trades to come, which is kind of good. Quite proud of these systems. I think they were released when around the 400s. And since then being made new equity highs, and the system's extremely simple code, but I have not changed a line of the systems since they were released. So the fact that they've been that robust and look like they're going to be making new equity highs is kind of very good news. I'm quite proud of that. This is what I'm talking about with all the risk on, risk off trades. So quite a lot of kind of low volume up bars into this potential turning point happening here. So here's crude daily chart, Friday's activity, amateur up bar into a turning point forming here. Gold, amateur up bar, turning point likely to form here. This will be a pullback and a downtrend, because we're in a downtrend because we've broken below cyclical support on gold. Euro chart, Rambo pattern on Friday, and we're a day or two away from a turning point here. Copper, amateur up bar, few more days away in terms of a turning point, but this will be a pullback and a downtrend. Aussie dollar, Aussie's been a little bit stronger than everything, so we're up at 102.6 on the futures contract, and a few days away from a turning point here. So and silver's just like gold. The pullback formed a couple of days ago here, amateur up bar, turning point kind of going down. When you see patterns like this where we've got amateur bars into a turning point, particularly a pullback in a downtrend kind of signal, amateur up bars turning into that. When I see that on an intraday chart, that's a high probability trade. So I'm just going to be interested to see what happens over the next couple of days. Being quite prepared for some kind of turning point lining up, and then the same kind of reverse if you like, with the risk off trade. So this is 30-year bonds coming into a cyclical turning point. This has been due for a few days, but we've not got price action confirmed yet. We had our Rambo pattern a couple of days ago, and then here's dollar index Rambo pattern on Friday into that cyclical turning point. Just means we're running out of juice on the downside here. So we're going to hold for a little bit and kind of test back up. So just be aware of that. And in terms of 40,500 tip bar chart, so this thing ran so hard, we've had our second end of trend signal in a row. Exhaustion buying into the end of trend. When we have that here, where that signal is coming into the end of trend, we wait for the second cyclical turn afterwards. Well, this was so strong it kept on running and formed a pullback to another end of trend. If that exhaustion signal had been here, then that end of trend would be a far higher kind of likelihood of turning at that point there. But now we've run into second end of trend in a row, so we're starting to run out of juice a little bit, and we're starting to see flush signals on Thursday, Friday's activity here. So another Rambo pattern at the highs here. So, and we've got all these blue professional bars, coming up on these highs. So just be aware of that kind of going forward. Question is, this move was set off by this extreme kind of professional buying, getting us going bang into this move. The reading on better momentum here was about 100,000 on better momentum on this particular time frame. So the question is, have we had enough exhaustion buying on the upside to kind of exhaust this move? So Just be aware of that going forward. My trading Thursday and Friday was pretty weak. Lost 8 on Thursday, up 2.5 on Friday though. But for me, a down week after 4 days of trade, because I didn't trade on Monday. Down 2 for the week, so pretty poor. I think the problem for me, both Thursday and Friday, we had really small ranges. There's only about 8 to 10 points in most of the days trade on those 2 days, and they were both very similar like this. They were kind of complex correction into a low kind of midday, then setting out into the best move was kind of a trend move kind of later in the day. And I got 4 points on Friday on a little bit of a move into this trend, but I didn't pick up any of it on Thursday just because I was done trading after being out 8 points. So that's the kind of difficulty I had trading on Thursday and Friday. But a down week, not going to let it kind of get to me. Just looking at my charts, thinking that I need to be concentrating a little bit more on the bigger picture. I should have been able to see this kind of complex correction and see that it was setting up for an uptrend and just I was trying to get in long too early on both days, and that was my problem. Now, just something different. I had a good question from Boris after Friday's activity, so I just want to talk about that for a second. Question about today's market action. Last 2 hours market actions were totally opposite to what you taught us. Emini bars at support, blue professional bar at the top in an uptrend on the 4,500 tick chart. Very disappointed with my trade. Any thoughts, Boris? So, Boris, last 2 hours. Let's just look at this on the 4,500 tick bar chart. Here we go, Friday's activity. This is the close on Thursday and the open on Friday, and this is this kind of complex correction that we had on the way down. It finally exhausted itself at the pullback level. It was trying to hold, bullish divergence kind of come in here, but we needed to lurch down and have an exhaustion selling signal and then bullish divergence here in order to mark the lows, and that was an Emini down bar at this point here, and then we set off into our uptrend for the rest of the day. Now, the last 2 hours of the day that Boris is talking about kind of just after this Rambo pattern here, so we run out of juice a little bit of the Rambo pattern, come into here, and then we have an Emini bar down here. That was a kind of Emini, when you look at the lower time frames, that was Emini activity on the lows happening here, and then we see this whole series of blue professional bars at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to make 2 points about this. The first one is that you tend to see a lot of blue professional bars at the end of days, and particularly at the end of weeks. So be very careful about taking signals off professional activity at the end of the day, because the professionals are closing out their positions at the end of the day and here at the end of the week. So just be careful about that. The second thing is, and I've talked about this a number of times, maximum 2 trends per day. Which means, in a day, you're not going to get a reversal trade, particularly coming into the end of the day on a Friday. You're not going to get a reversal trade. We'd had a downtrend, we'd kind of bottomed for the day, and we'd had our uptrend. So if you're looking for reversal trades into a downtrend at the end of a day when we've had 2 trends like this, that's unlikely to happen. Particularly as on this Friday what was happening, I think the professionals were really gaming this, for us to kind of break to new highs at the end of the day and see this kind of very bullish activity at the end of the day. Now, as an example of the 2 trades, 2 trends per day, let me just bring this. This is the 4,500 tip bar chart over the last 4 days. So close of Thursday, open of Friday. So this is a day's activity. This is Friday, this is Thursday, this is Wednesday, this is Tuesday. Now, so Friday's activity, downtrend, uptrend. Thursday's activity, downtrend, uptrend. Wednesday's activity, uptrend, downtrend. Tuesday's activity, uptrend, stalled. Okay, so there were 2 trends happening maximum per day. If we go back the previous week, uptrend, uptrend, downtrend. This isn't the Friday. We had an uptrend starting off, and then this was kind of a really odd kind of sell-off into the end of the day on Friday. The point I'm trying to make here is we either have 1 trend or maximum 2 trends in a day. We don't have 3 trends. This kind of activity, extremely unusual. So the guess is that we're going to have a continuation of this uptrend going into the close. So, once we've had this bottom kind of put in on the 4,500 tip bar chart, this is likely to continue kind of going forward. So you need to be looking for signals long into the end of the day. So that's the first point, just talking about the maximum trends per day. The second one is just talking about this, all these blue professional bars happening here. I'm going to show you these 2 charts. So first of all, average trade size chart here, and this is the average trade size on a 135-minute chart. 135 minutes is just over 2 hours at the end of the day. That was what was happening at the end of Fridays on that last 2 hours of trade. Extremely high average trade size. This bar is the highest average trade size that we've had for weeks. So a lot of professional activity here. Just to put it in another context, this is kind of using the pro-am type convention of blue professional bars. Forget the amateur bars here. I've talked about amateur bars on kind of sell-off activities, and we tend to see a lot of amateur bars. But let's concentrate here on the blue professional bars. Blue professional bars, blue professional bars here, and on these two highs. All of the highs here, there's no blue professional bars anywhere else on this chart. They're all here, 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 and here. And that was what was going on. So just be very wary about particularly Fridays and particularly the end of days with taking signals off blue professional bars. The professionals have got their own agenda. I'm guessing they were kind of gapping this up, getting it kind of going to new highs. They were using all of that activity. They were taking profits at the highs here and then keeping the market juiced up. But when it falls back into 12.15, they were kind of coming back into the market here at 12.15, keeping it juiced up at these highs. So now, who knows what their agenda is? You have to wait until after the blue professional bars, unfortunately, to see what's kind of going on. I mean, we are at highs here, so professionals tend to be selling at highs, buying at lows, so there could be professional profit taking going on. But if they're getting this thing ready to get into a trend move where we kind of take off to the upsides and there's kind of no looking back, so what I'm looking for on Monday is to see what the continuation of this kind of activity is. Do the professionals kind of gap and go, kind of get this thing going really up to new highs and getting it going? So it takes everybody by surprise. Everybody has to rush on board, and we're kind of into a new uptrend that's kind of set off after moving out of this pullback, or were they genuinely actually kind of taking profits up here and kind of getting ready for some of these risk-on markets kind of starting to roll over on Monday. So, I tend to have my bearish hat on most of the time. That's my kind of natural DNA kind of kick in. But let's just wait and see. If they were actually kind of just taking the opportunity to juice this thing up and kind of getting going, I wouldn't be surprised. So, Boris, I hope that was helpful in terms of answering those questions there. Remember, maximum two trend moves per day, and be very careful about blue professional bars at the end of the day and the end of a week, because you don't know what their agenda is, and it'll become clear over the next couple of days. Then lastly, just want to put this up. This is my video post after the long weekend, the book that changed my life, where I was talking about this little book, The Devil Take the Hindmost, by Edward Chancellor, which is kind of, for me, a seminal book, all about debt super cycles. I've just updated this post a little bit. I'll put a link back up to it, just because Steve Keen had a great little interview on the Renegade Economist on Friday, came out on Friday, and I'm really a huge fan of his work, and so I wanted to put a link back up to that. And it is talking about kind of debt super cycles, debt bubbles, and deleveraging and so on. So there's that kind of comment, and then got some great comments from traders on the video, so I really appreciate those. Thank you so much. And just want to point out two of them, because one of them was particularly kind of touching. The first one here from Justin G. Justin says, the book that changed my life. What about the website that changed my life? I'm a New York City firefighter and Emini trader. Firefighting is my passion, but Emini Trading, with the help of your site, has changed my family's life for the better. My family can now afford the best medical care, best education, and the satisfaction of changing other people's lives for the better. You even got me to attend the Quicksilver Pro contest that was held at a local beach recently, and I might take out surfing next, Justin. So, whenever I read New York City firefighter, I think we all know what that means to all of this. It's incredibly special. And thank you, Justin, for the kind comments there. And just a little note on this is what he was talking about. Unbelievably, there is this quality of break outside of New York City. This is the recent photos. Sprout Daily, my local guys, they live in Manly Beach and do photographs of Manly Beach, but they happen to be in New York City for this Quicksilver Pro, and they put up some just amazing photographs. I think this is probably a pretty special day at this particular break in New York City. but some of the quality of these waves. And then look at this photograph here, this little barrel. I think that's Slater on that little barrel there, just beautiful. So that's the contest that he's actually, Justin's actually talking about there. So that's the first point. The second one is a little further down, this one from Owen. Owen says, I cannot see a more pure way to make a living than trading, where you and you alone bear complete responsibility for your income. Exactly right. That's what I love about trading, and we all need to kind of look after ourselves. And then makes a great little point. I have 4 kids, and what I've been teaching them lately when they ask is that they will need to forego the traditional job search concept when they leave school in the favor of making their own money in the world. When my oldest son turns 13, I'm planning to open a 5,000 account with TradeStation and teach him to trade a single ES contract for his spending money instead of delivering newspapers or working part-time at the video game store. I think that's fantastic. One of the things that's actually surprised me getting to know more Emini traders over the last several years is the number of young people that are kind of coming to trading and saying, if I focus and work hard at this, I can actually make a living at it. So I think that's kind of a great sentiment to kind of get kids young into things like this. And Owen, looks like you'll have a trading dynasty on your hand once you do that. So there we go. Book changed my life. If you want to kind of revisit that, maybe have a look at the Steve Keen conversation. I thought that was pretty interesting. Long video this weekend. Apologies. I hope you found it useful, and enjoy your weekend.